Hey everyone, Mayor Brandon Whipple here. We are excited to talk about the new committee on, or the new board on diversity, inclusion, and civil rights. I'm here with Ms. Atkins, who is a activist in this area, and also with Vice Mayor Johnson, and we're here to talk about the establishment of this new board, talk about how folks can get involved with it, and also take any of your questions. So if you have questions, feel free to post them in the comment section. So Vice Mayor.
Yeah, so I'm excited about being here today with both of you and kind of where this has went from the initial Mayor's Advisory Committee, all the work that you all did, definitely appreciative about that. And now, after the recommendation and approval of the council, we have this board that's open. We've got 11 vacancies, but we can appoint up to 17 people. Definitely excited about that. And we're looking for folks from different walks of life that have expertise in these areas. And with that, maybe you give some background on some of the work you all did and kind of what you see as value in this.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Marquita Atkins, and I'm the founder and director of Destination Innovation, Inc., and we're a hub for youth leadership and development. So I come into this from a perspective of what kind of future are we giving our young people. So it was important to me that their voices are amplified in this space. Sometimes when we think about diversity, we see it in black and white, and diversity is more than that. So I went into it from a standpoint of looking at intrinsic diversity and inclusion, where Wichita is a city that doesn't just talk about it. When you walk into our space, you see it. So we had the deep conversations about what Wichita needs to be a more diverse and inclusive city, and what we needed as individuals. And what I loved about our initial group is that there were people from all different kinds of backgrounds and walks of life, and we were coming together and having healthy conversations about diversity and inclusion. So I always have the saying, just like Danielle says, lean into discomfort, not disrespect. And the space was very, very respectful. So I'm excited to see about what this new committee is going to do and what kind of change they're going to cultivate in the city.
And Ms. Atkins, we really appreciate the work that you do with our community and the young folks here. And one of the things that I really loved about the conversation we had this summer with the temporary Mayor's Advisory Board was the fact that really anyone could come and be a part of that growth, be a part of bringing Wichita to that next level. Before I was mayor, I remember listening to a report about folks who were leaving Wichita and our brain drain, I think is what some call it. But really, we were losing some of our top talent. These were people 40 and under who were about to lay down roots, really kind of get start having kids, get kids through school, spend the most productive parts of their lives when they're working in different communities because they felt like that they might not have had the same opportunities here. And when you kind of dig into those numbers more, it was actually not just young people, but the majority of the folks who fell into that category were people of different minority groups and also women. Yep. Which, hopefully, if we do this right, we're going to be able to work with folks like yourself, folks who have that community development experience like Johnson did before you were elected. And we can actually build something from the ground up that is going to become, I think, maybe hopefully a model for other cities. Yeah. And it's an interesting thing. We actually, all the cities that are beating us or that are comparable, that are beating us when it comes to economic development, actually have something like this in place. So I think we're somewhat behind, but because we are starting off, today's day and age, we actually might have a chance to ensure that the product more represents the folks that want to see Wichita grow.
Yeah, and also to that, there's a lot of folks who really wanted a seat at the table to be able to address issues that they found in the community, and this is one of those vehicles now that can do that. I mean, we had folks from the Racial Profiling Advisory Board reach out. I've had, Black business professionals reach out and talking about some of the gaps in equity and what we should be doing as a city and policy-wise. So this is one of those opportunities to give that voice an opportunity. And then you all recommended that a young person be there, at least one young person.
At least one young person.
So we'll be able to have that voice at the table as well.
Absolutely. We always feel like we have all these conversations about the future without bringing the future to the table. Right. And this is the reason why we kind of keep getting it a little bit wrong. So what happens when the future steps up and tells you, this is what we need to be successful? And what they don't realize is that when they go to those other cities, women, different minorities, and young people, they are the ones that are making these cities better. So imagine if they channeled that energy back into Wichita, what we could be.
Yeah. Right, and you get that buy-in too, being able to, And the cool thing when it comes to serving on, I think, any board here in Wichita is it's a time commitment, right? Like service, you commit yourself, your time, your work to it. But you can serve in a committee like this for a little while and then take some time off and recommend someone else. Like we can actually get a lot of folks who are out there doing the type of work, like the organizations that you referenced, but now they bring that experience in and have that direct connection to the policy side of our government, which, as some folks might know, our government's kind of broken up where you have the administration side, which is where pretty much you wind up how to spend money effectively. And then you have the policy side, which is developing policy and ensuring that taxpayer money is going to different areas with oversight. This adds that oversight portion where now we can bring these folks forward who have this community experience, and they will have a direct line to the elected officials. So I'm excited to see where that goes because I think that it's needed.
It's absolutely positively necessary. And if you peruse the comments or you look at the conversations that have been happening around this city, you guys are creating a space where we're saying we need your voice. We want you to be a part of this Wichita, this future Wichita that we're creating. And that's so powerful. And I hope that people take initiative to realize that when we say we want your voice and apply. Again, as a person that was on the very first committee, it was a space for you to be open and have real honest conversations. And so the Wichita you're craving is out there. You just have to show up. That's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of demand for this too. I know you had over 100 people apply initially for the advisory board. So I think between then and now, there's probably even more renewed interest in this and being at the table for that. And we definitely want, I know you want, folks to tell us, what are we doing good? We always want to know that so we can keep doing it, but then also where are the gaps and what help do we need and what are we not thinking about, and those are things that can come up from this committee. So I know I'll be tuned in every time when the committee starts to meet.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think that you've been elected long enough to know that some of the best ideas that we do as elected officials come from the community to us, not really from some I guess academic textbook or some trend down to the city, right? Like
Yeah.
some of the best ideas moving Wichita forward usually are the ones that actually address situations that people are going through here in Wichita. So I'm excited because that's the purpose of this is hopefully to figure out ways that we can be more reactive when it comes to policy, but also bringing people into the room who have experience out there and connections out there where there might be a networked approach, connecting, that sounds like something this group is interested in doing or does and would benefit from networking with your group. And we could probably create some other outside of just, I guess, policy or government work. We could probably create a community of shared interest.
Yeah, we're going into 2021 in our organization with the theme of Leadership Unboxed. So imagine when you get voices that are normally not allowed into these spaces, and what kind of new and inventive ideas they can come up with to move this city. And then you have a whole new talent pool to pull from that you didn't even know existed. And that's the power of creating these D&I inclusive spaces that really want all the voices, collective voices from Wichita to come in and, create these new policies that can help change us into the Wichita that we need to be.
I'm excited with the idea, with the ability to innovate and collaborate.
Yeah, same here. I just wanted to say while we're talking, I want everybody out there watching right now to know that you can go to wichita.gov, click Get Information, the Citizen Advisory Boards, and apply now. So if you like what you're hearing, you want to be one of the first to apply, definitely go do that. I know our team's going to post in the comments below some links to that, but as you're listening to us, think about applying as well.
Yeah, definitely. And if one of the things that people usually ask me, and I'm sure you get asked this as well, is how do you step up and step out when it comes to service in our city? And so wichita.gov is going to have a list of all the different, if this isn't the board that you feel called to serve on, they will have all the different openings for different boards as well. And really, we want more folks stepping up and dedicating their time for a appointment to one of these boards, so we get more voices at the table. We want to make sure that Wichita has the best ideas coming forward, and that really works better when we get more folks at the table who have those diverse experiences. So if you apply for this position, again, it's wichita.gov. If you apply for a position on this board and you might not get this time around, please just you apply for another one or make sure that you apply for the next time there's an opening, because we're always looking for people who are motivated to move our city forward. Megan, do we got any questions?
No questions, Mayor.
No questions. All right. Well, what else can we?
Well, I mean, we also want to encourage people that, you know, if you don't get selected this time, engage with the board, because all of our boards, the members are listed on the website. So, you know, if you have some really good idea or something to think about, but you'll see the names on there, reach out to the members on the board, you know, and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about, or, you know, I watched your last meeting, maybe you missed this point. You know, I've found that all of our citizen advisory boards, they're all receptive to hearing feedback from the community. And ultimately, when you think about the hierarchy, they're our bosses anyway as electeds.
Right.
And so, you know, we're listening to our bosses in these advisory roles, but they also listen to other citizens too and, you know, come up with the best solution and ideas to send back to the council.
And that's really important. I think it's a really important comment. It's a really powerful comment because we might have some folks out there who have the passion to serve but think, well, what can I add? And a lot of times in these positions, we don't get folks who get appointed because they're the say-all, right? Because they're just an expert in this area. But a lot of times we get people who have experience in certain areas, but they're really good at listening, and they become that vehicle for other voices. So yeah, if you're someone who, on this board or other boards, who you know, might not feel like, hey, I'm not an expert, maybe I should let someone else who has more experience than me on it. But if you're someone with a good network of folks that can listen to what other, and carry those thoughts to those meetings, I mean, that's really important as well.
Yeah, and to Ms. Atkins' point, I always encourage young people to engage. So, you know, if they don't get picked, they should definitely engage too. I mean, their voice is imperative to our future. And so reaching out to that group, if they have ideas or they see gaps, you know, definitely let us know. I always want young people engaged in some way, shape, or form. And either way it goes, even if you can't engage with that group, always reach out to the electeds as well. You know, we want to hear from our young people too.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remind these young people that you guys are creating a space for them to apply and to be elected. So young people, stand up. Wichita is telling you they need your voices, they need your perspective. So step into that role without any fear. I love the fact that I have the saying, our youth are the best investment we can make that yields the best returns. And right now we're starting to see the returns on the investment of young people wanting to be civically engaged and learn about how Wichita functions and what makes it move. And here's an opportunity for them to have a chance.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Well, what are, for younger folks who might not utilize, I guess, just email, as a city, we're on social media. We are on Twitter. We are also on Facebook, something called Instagram that I think young folks are into now. We might even have a Snapchat, I don't know. But anyways, but Johnson, why don't you tell everyone your Twitter handle, so if folks want to reach out to Johnson, what's the best way to reach out to you on social media?
Yeah, so actually Twitter and Instagram is BJohnsonICT. Facebook is Johnson for Wichita. That's my public page. But if you just type in Brandon J. Johnson, I'll pop up. Reach out to me there. I'm on LinkedIn as well, although I need to do better about LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn is just a spam bot.
Yeah.
Like that's, you click into LinkedIn once, and usually you get like 5 emails later about LinkedIn.
Yeah.
If people are interested in your organization, what's the best way to reach out?
At camdestinationinnovation.com on Facebook. Oh, that's the website. I'm sorry. camdestinationinnovation.com. And then it's at Camp Destination Innovation on Facebook and the same Camp DI on Twitter. And we don't have a Snapchat or Instagram yet, but we're getting there.
All right. Well, and of course, for those who might not follow me on social media, I'm bwhippleKS as my handle for Twitter and also for Instagram. I am on Instagram, even though I joke that it's a platform I'm not very comfortable with because I'm old. But also, if you Google Mayor of Wichita, my actual Mayor of Wichita page, that's the, I guess, the city page, will pop up. And if also Vote Whipple, or excuse me, Facebook.com/Vote Whipple, that's my personal page that I usually communicate with people through as well. So I think that we're pretty active on social media. Also, all of our members, you can shoot us emails and we respond that way as well. But yeah, we try to stay in contact. So what else? Megan, any questions you had about the board? No? All right. So do we got any other social media? We got a Flickr account or something, Megan, you want me to put a plug for? No?
I think you covered it.
Covered it? Okay. Excellent. So we're going to go ahead and hand it over to Vice Mayor for the closing words.
Yeah, so in closing, again, if you have an interest in supplier diversity, anything civil rights, equity, policy ideas, issues you've had in the past, apply. If you don't get appointed, send those emails, let us know this is work that we want to do. That's what this board is for. We'll be making those appointments here very soon to that board, so make sure you're applying. It is open now. Share this with your friends and family. Again, young people, you have a seat at this table. Make sure you apply. We'll make sure that you at least that one position is filled, and if not, making sure that your input is given to this board no matter what. So definitely want to have that youth voice there. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate you for appointing the initial advisory board that now has recommended this, and appreciate your work and the other, 24 members on that board, 25 total, you and the other 24, coming up with the recommendations, and that document will be the guiding document for this body going forward. So I'm excited about that.
And I'm just going to touch on that. Thank you to Ms. Atkins and the other members who actually served on the board, and Johnson was the vice chair. We didn't know where that was going, to be honest. It was more just an advisory board setting up that two-way conversation. If it wasn't for the community leaders such as yourself and the other 20 plus who dedicated themselves to this and came up with a framework to make it a standing board that will outlast all the electeds currently elected, right? Because we're term limited, which means that this will go on, it says that, I think that foundation for the future. And it really came out of the work that you and the others who gave up your time selflessly to service. And that legacy of giving up that time and actually creating a structure so that it calls other people to service, I think is really big, and it's going to be a great thing. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
And we can't forget PPMC, LaShonda and Misty
Yeah.
for doing all that work. That's a lot of work with 20 different perspectives, or 25 different perspectives, and putting all of that into a document and dealing with us all summer. Definitely appreciate them for their help too.
Right, and be remiss to not thank the council as well for keeping an open mind towards what we're trying to accomplish, and then utilizing their own experience on the council to help us make adjustments to this as we passed it forward to make sure that it was a strong piece of ordinance or strong piece of legislation, however you want to categorize it, so the ordinance would be strong enough to stand the test of time. So with that, I thank you all for joining us. As always, reach out if there's any questions or anything we can do.